All right, welcome. The Bible is just packed with these epic stories, right? But one of its biggest mysteries is hiding in plain sight. Just how long could people live back then? And the answer? Well, it's not just a number. It's a journey to the very dawn of human history. So, let's get right to it. Who actually holds the record for the longest life in the entire biblical story? We're talking about a lifespan that is so long, it kind of bends your mind and makes you rethink the whole concept of time. You know, the clue to this whole thing isn't found in some huge battle or a dramatic prophecy. Nope. It's tucked away in the book of Genesis, inside one of the most famous family trees ever recorded. A list that connects the very first human being to all the generations that came after. Now, before we get to the absolute champion, let's take a look at some of the other major players here. We're talking about a whole league of people with these extraordinarily long lives that seem almost mythical today. Okay, so our first contender really needs no introduction. He is the guy who started it all, the patriarch of humanity himself. The book of Genesis says his age was, get this, 930 years. Just pause and think about that for a second. That is 9 centuries, all packed into a single lifetime. It's just wild. Yep, that number belongs to Adam. At 930 years old, he would have been like a living bridge connecting dozens and dozens of generations. It's an absolutely unimaginable lifespan by any standard we have today. And here's where it gets even crazier. As astonishing as 930 years is, Adam doesn't actually take the top spot. The record was broken, and by one of his own descendants, no less. So Adam's record didn't stand forever. Our next contender hit an even more incredible age, 962 years. We are getting really, really close to the top now. So, this was the age of Jared. And what's really fascinating here is his family connection. He was a direct ancestor of one of the Bible's most famous figures, Noah. Clearly, longevity really ran in this family. So you've got Adam over here at 930 years, and Jared coming in even higher at 962. But look at this. Neither of them holds the record. The real champion lived even longer, towering over both of them. All right, it's time to reveal the undisputed record holder for the oldest person in the Bible. So if it's not Adam and it's not Jared, who could possibly have lived even longer than them? Who is sitting at the very top of that chart? 969 years. That's just 31 years shy of a full millennium. 1,000 years. This is the number that has just echoed through history for centuries. And that record belongs to Methuselah. And look, there's that family connection again. He wasn't some random person. He was the grandfather of Noah, which puts him right at the absolute heart of that pre-flood world. Okay, so when you see a number like 969, it naturally leads to a really big question, how? How is that even possible? And, this has been a topic of debate for thousands of years, and there are a few really interesting ways to look at it. So basically, there are two main schools of thought on this. On one hand, you have a literal reading. This view takes the numbers as historical fact, maybe made possible by a much purer, pre-flood environment. But on the other hand, there's a symbolic reading, which suggests the numbers aren't really about years at all, but instead they represent a person's wisdom or their righteousness or just how important they were to the overall story. And, there are other theories floating around too. Some scholars think there could have been translation errors over the centuries. Others suggest that ancient people might have used totally different calendars, where a year was actually more like a season. There's even an idea that a name like Methuselah didn't mean one person, but an entire clan, and the age was just how long that clan was around and influential. So, okay, beyond the mind-boggling number itself, what's the lasting impact of Methuselah's story? Why does this ancient record still capture our imagination so much today? Well, for one thing, it's literally become a part of our language. When we want to describe something as being incredibly ancient, what do we say? We say it's as old as Methuselah. His name is basically a synonym for extreme old age. But the real takeaway here is all about the story itself. Think about it. Methuselah's super long life means he could have personally known Adam, the very first man, and also lived long enough to see his own grandson Noah build the ark. These incredible lifespans create this unbroken chain, a living history that directly connects the first human with the man chosen to restart humanity. It's showing us that the wisdom from the beginning of the world was passed down directly, hand to hand, to the new world. And that just leaves us with one final thought to chew on. Whether you take it literally or symbolically, thinking about a life that spans nearly 1,000 years, it forces us to look at our own, much shorter lives. It pushes us to ask, what does it really mean to live a long life? And what kind of legacy can we possibly build in the time that we have?